What's happening, guys? So today I want to talk about the walkout for the squat. Now this is something that, especially as weight gets heavier and you get stronger, every small thing that you can do to make a difference will add up to make larger differences in the end. And like I said, the heavier it gets, the more of an impact it's going to make. Now I used to have a pretty sloppy walkout and it was herky-jerky and it just didn't look very pretty. And I never really thought much of it until I got my first coach, and he kind of went over some things with me and said, you know, you really need to kind of get a little bit more purpose and a little bit more of a set routine with your walkout, and it can make a big difference. Now you need to understand that anything that you do with a loaded barbell on your back is going to make the weight oscillate, and this is obviously going to disrupt the stability. It's going to make things a little more difficult. If it's shaking, it's going to be further away from your center of gravity and the base of support, and it's just going to make the lift heavier, or at least feel heavier than it really needs to be. Any movement that you do is going to fight against the barbell, which in this instance is the larger mass in the system, and it's going to feel way harder than it really needs to be. So you got to make sure that the weight is settled before you actually descend into the squat, and anything that you do prior to going into your descent to make things more stable is only going to help you out. So like I said, you want to make sure that each and every movement that you do is purposeful. Every single thing that you do should be a routine. You should do it during warm-ups, and you should do it during every single set of exercise that you ever have to really get it down and make it habitual, especially for the heavier weights that are going to come up later on. So when you get under the bar, obviously you want to be centered, you want to be in the center knurling, and you want to make sure that your feet and the bar and your hips are in a straight line before you unrack it. And you're just going to kind of push your hips forward to disengage the bar from the rack. Personally, I like the three-step approach. What you're going to do is you're just going to take one small step directly back with either foot, doesn't matter which one. Then you're going to take a slightly larger step back and to the side with your other foot, and it's very important that you take this step very purposefully and you make sure you set it exactly how you want to set up your stance, because this movement is going to set up exactly where you're actually going to squat. So if you normally have your toes pointed out, make sure you take that step with your toes out. If you've got them forward, place them forward. However you normally squat, make sure you get into this position the best you can with this step. And then from there, you're just going to take your other foot and you're going to even things out. This is going to get you in your squat stance, and then from there, you're going to make as small movements as possible, hopefully just wiggling your toes just to get in the exact position that you want to be and make sure everything's lined up, and then you're ready to go. I actually recently switched to a wider squat stance, and one of the things I had to do to kind of help with this was to point my toes out a little bit more when I made the switch from high bar to low bar. And when I was first doing this, I kept pointing my toes straight ahead during my second step, and then I had to really work hard to get my toes pointed out, and I was creating a little bit of movement on the barbell, and it just wasn't as good. So that was kind of what kind of reminded me, you know what, I got to make sure I'm getting exactly where I want to be right from the get-go. So you want to do these movements slow and methodically, and you want to make sure that there's not a lot of movement, so this way the bar's not oscillating and you're not wasting energy, and you're just going to be set up for a better lift this way. Alright guys, that's all I had for this video. I just wanted to kind of go over this and just kind of help you realize that while it may not seem like a big deal, it really is. All these little things that I go over with you all add up to a bigger, better, more efficient squat. So practice these things one thing at a time, get them down, and then move on to the next. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you liked the video, would really appreciate it if you left a like. It really helps out the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.